You must welcome my viewers. Thank you for following Smart Science channel on this platform. Um, I'm making this video in response to one of my viewers, my followers, who requested me to make a summary on how to handle items in Pillar 1, which come from application of chemistry in daily life. And specifically, she told me to assist her on how to handle food additives and then drugs. But allow me in this video to look at an approach of all items that make up Pillar 1. In this pillar, we look at a case in point where we handle things like food additives. We also handle drugs. We handle things like nuclear processes, medicine, among others. So as we start off, among the areas, the chapters we handle here, we look at food additives. These ones are many, can be food colors, can be thickeners, can be sweeteners. They are very, very many, can be preservatives, among others. So generally, we group them into one. Then we have drugs and medicine, we have detergents, we have nuclear processes, radioactivity, among others. The basis of assessment, regardless of the kind of question set, the questions or the answers, the responses a learner is expected to give will be looking at part A, which will handle the PCF, where we emphasize the product. And to simplify on this, I would like to say that the product will always be the chapter itself. So if I'm handling this area, food additives, my product will be a food additive. It can be a food preservative, a food thickener, but the product is a food additive. The chapter makes up our product. Then the category, majority of what we have here, food additives, drugs and medicine, can be categorized in terms of natural synthetic, and for drugs can be local herbs or modern medicine, depending on how the scenario is set, as we shall be seeing. Then for detergents, the categories are two: soapless or soapy. For nuclear processes, we can have binary fission nuclear fission or nuclear fusion. Then when it comes to radioactivity, still we look at a radioactive substance, which can be given, as we are going to be seeing. Basis B, questions will assess danger explanation and mitigation. And lastly, basis C will handle evaluation of the product. Evaluation is only in item 1. We are not seeing it in item 2 in section A. So we evaluate the product by giving the similarity in function, the differences in function, and then the choice. You recommend which one would be better. If I'm using a food additive, which one is better between a natural preservative and, let's say, a synthetic preservative? So as per the basis, we look at the way we can handle the different items, like we've always looked at. So when we proceed and we begin with food additives, there are quite many: food colorings, sweeteners, emulsifiers, preservatives, enhancers, among others. However, regardless of the scenario set, our food additives are going to be handled in such a way that the product is a food additive. The product is a food additive. And these food additives are categorized into natural or synthetic food additives. Collectively, or before we break them down, these food additives are intended to improve the aroma of food, that is, if at all it is a flavor, to improve the safety of food, if it is a preservative, to improve the taste of food, if it is a sweetener, to improve the appearance of food, if the additive is a food color, and improve the texture of food. So these are some of the functions of food additives collectively, regardless of whether it is a preservative. You know, the moment we set to a scenario which involves many additives, not of the same type, this is how we will handle. Then we know that dangers are mostly associated with synthetic items. So in case you excessively take in synthetic food additives, they can cause serious health hazards like cancer, simply because they are inorganic and cannot be broken down. And this can be mitigated by taking in regulated amounts of the food additives. Then when it comes to evaluation, we look at both natural and synthetic. Both of them, regardless of the category of the caliber of the food additive given, they will serve the same functions of improving aroma, of improving safety, of improving taste of food or texture. However, the natural food additives are less effective and have very few side effects since they are organic in nature, while the synthetic food additives are more effective but are associated with very many side effects. So as an individual, my personal opinion would be to recommend natural food additives simply because they are better than the synthetic food additives in terms of having or being associated with very few health hazards. So that would be a better response on an item that handles a food additive. As we proceed, we look at, in case we specify the food additives and give you only preservatives, still the product remains food additives. And our product here will need to be specialized, so, or to be specified. So food additives especially are preservatives, which can be categorized as natural and synthetic food preservatives. And these are used to maintain safety and increase shelf life of food. We shall move on to give you the danger, which remains the same literally, and then the evaluation. Evaluation, we look at both serving the same function of preserving food. However, natural preservatives have less side effects. However, they are less effective. And then those which are synthetic, they have more side effects. So we would prefer having a natural food additive or a natural food preservative than a synthetic food preservative. And among the natural food preservatives, we have things like salt, things like vinegar, among others. Among the synthetic food preservatives, we have sodium nitrite. Sodium nitrite is an example of a synthetic food preservative. Whenever we are handling this, we look at the ones which are synthetic. If you are looking for a synthetic food preservative, think about sodium nitrate. This is an example of a synthetic food preservative. So with food preservatives, I believe this summary can work for any, it can fit into any scenario-based question concerning food additives. We proceed to drugs and local herbs. And as we are proceeding to this, I encourage you to subscribe to Smart Science channel. Please do so as we continue with what we are handling. Please hit the like button, share the link to any students out there so that we can finally handle matters rightly. Drugs, when it comes to drugs, the product remains the drug. And these ones are categorized into local herbs or modern drugs. However, both of them are used to improve the health status of an individual. We are not going to request O-level learners to go ahead and explain to us how drugs work, simply because you people are not yet medics and we cannot ask too much from you. However, when we compare the two, side effects are mostly associated with modern drugs. They can trigger allergic reactions to an individual, which may cause inflammation. And this is mitigated by taking only prescribed drugs by medical personnel. Don't prescribe a drug for yourself. Evaluation, we look at the similarity in function. Both local herbs and modern medicine cure disease. When we look at the differences, local herbs are less effective with low side effects, while modern drugs are more effective, however associated with quite a number of side effects. When it comes to choice, we would prefer modern medicines because they are better in function. However, we encourage you to take in prescribed dosages to minimize the side effects of such drugs. As we proceed, if we proceed and look at the other, we can decide to give you a scenario that only emphasizes modern drugs, only one category, modern drugs. So our product remains a modern drug, categorized as analgesics, all antibodies, and they are all intended to improve health status of an individual. Analgesics are like painkillers, while antibodies, for them, they cure disease. So modern drugs generally will trigger allergic reactions like we've done previously. That one will not vary much, but in the similarity, both are effective in their functions. Then analgesics are pain relievers and don't cure disease, while antibiotics, these ones cure disease. So in case you have an infection, this recommendation keeps on changing depending on the nature of the scenario. If you have an infection, then we would prefer you to take antibiotics than analgesics because for them, they will cure the infection. If you have an inflammation and you want to relieve pain, then we would prefer analgesics over antibodies because analgesics, they cure pain, they relieve pain. So it depends on the nature of the scenario set, which we shall look at. We are going to be assessing some few examples in this area to ensure that we can fit in our responses very well, the way we are handling them or summarizing them here. As we proceed in the same area, we have detergents. And detergents are commonly used in our daily life at home. In these ones, the product remains a detergent, and detergents are categorized into soapy and soapless detergents, and they are used to remove dirt from clothes. That is the function. However, when handling this scenario, this area here, we expect that since these are common items, since they are common items used at home, we expect our learners to be able to explain or to talk about how the function is performed. How will soap clean our clothes? How will the soapless detergents do it? So we expect you to go an extra mile and describe the function. It can come as a second Roman numeral of part A because we are assessing the same basis of assessment. So when dissolved in water, soap lowers surface tension of water, and that one allows wetting of the cloth. So the polar end of soap will dissolve in water and surround the dirt, while the non-polar end enters the dirt and weakens its bonds with the cloth. If you come and agitate the cloth, you shall easily remove the dirt and it will be suspended into water. It will be prevented from reattaching on the cloth. So that's how the cleansing action of soap can be easily described. Among the dangers, if you poorly dispose of detergents into water bodies, it can result into pollution, and this is because they lower surface tension of water, affecting gaseous exchange in fish. This can be mitigated by ensuring proper disposal. Make sure that you explain this demo very well, the danger, its effect, and how it can be mitigated. Evaluation is the way we've been doing it the other side. Both soapy and soapless detergents remove dirt. The difference is that soapless detergents have a higher cleansing power, therefore they are more effective than soapless detergents. Then soapless detergents don't form scum in hard water, unlike soapy detergents. Therefore, depending on the source of water, we would recommend use of soapless detergents. However, since they come along with some side effects, we encourage you to ensure proper disposal to minimize the side effects. The branch or the pillar ends with nuclear processes. The question that was item number one in UCE examinations 2024. I will be making a video to show you how best you would have responded to that question. It will be uploaded here on Smart Science. I encourage you to share this. Under nuclear processes, we look at basically being categorized as nuclear fission and nuclear fusion, and they are used to generate electricity. In this area, we look at radioactive nuclei. In this area, you have to describe how the function is carried out. So in this particular part, the radioactive nucleus we are handling, we shall bombard it with fast-moving electrons or neutrons. And as they are bombarded with fast-moving electrons, the nucleus will disintegrate with the evolution of heat energy. This heat energy is used to boil water, forming steam that moves at a very high pressure. The steam will drive the turbines, generating electricity, which can be used in our society. Nuclear processes, with their dangers, quite many, they release radiations which are dangerous to our health, and when exposed to them can cause cancer. So we mitigate this by minimizing exposure and ensuring that all workers put on protective gears and do not last for so long. So they will be working in shifts so that we minimize the time frame at which they're exposed to such. Both nuclear processes emit energy used to generate electricity. That is a similarity. The difference is that nuclear fission has a higher energy output and is cheaply established than nuclear fusion. So as a scientist, we would prefer recommending nuclear fission than nuclear fusion to be used in such. So with all that, I request to pause from here